All right, so are you ready to dive into this Infinix Note 10?
Let's do it.
Yeah, because today we're looking at this pretty cool mid-range phone, and we've got this review from rechargemytopup.com.
Oh, yeah. Recharge My Topup. I've seen that site before.
Yeah, they do pretty good reviews. So let's see what they have to say about the Infinix Note 10.
Sounds good.
Okay, well, right off the bat,
Yeah.
this thing's got a 6.95-inch display.
Ooh.
I know, right?
It's massive.
It's huge. Like, we're talking almost tablet territory here.
Yeah. You're going to need some big pockets for that one.
No kidding. Cargo pants only.
Exactly.
But hey, you know, if you like that big screen experience...
Yeah, if you're watching movies and stuff.
Yeah, this is going to be the phone for you.
Absolutely.
The review also mentions a sleek design, which is always a plus.
Yeah, I mean, nobody wants a clunky phone these days, right?
Exactly. Form factor is important.
It's got to look good and feel good in your hand.
Yeah, so let's get down to the nitty-gritty here. What's powering this beast?
All right, let's talk specs.
The review says it's got a MediaTek Helio G85 chipset.
Okay, so the Helio G85, that's a pretty solid mid-range chip.
Okay, so not top of the line.
Not a flagship killer.
Yeah.
But it can handle everyday stuff, no problem.
Okay, so if I'm like scrolling through social media,
Yeah.
watching some YouTube videos,
They're good.
I should be good to go.
Yeah, you're not going to see a lot of lag or anything.
Okay, that's good to know because I'm not a huge mobile gamer or anything.
Right.
So I don't necessarily need the absolute most powerful processor out there.
Exactly. You don't need to spend the extra money.
Now, what about RAM and storage, though? Because I feel like I'm always running out of space on my phone.
Yeah, storage is a big one.
So what are we working with here?
So you've got options up to 6 GB of RAM, which is pretty decent.
Okay, it's a good amount.
Yeah, you can have multiple apps open.
Right.
You know, switch back and forth. You're not going to have any issues.
Perfect.
And then for storage, you're looking at up to 128 GB.
Okay, that's not bad.
And they even say it's extendable, so if you need more, you can pop in an SD card.
That's a lifesaver.
Yeah, no more storage anxiety.
Exactly.
You can take all the photos you want, download all the apps.
All right, so we've got a big screen, decent performance.
Check and check.
Let's talk cameras, because the Infinix Note 10 is rocking a quad camera setup on the back.
Ooh, quad camera fancy.
I know, right? And it's got a 48 MP primary sensor.
Okay, so megapixels aren't everything.
Right, but it's a good starting point.
It is a good starting point.
What does the review say about the actual photo quality?
Well, they say that the 48 MP sensor should deliver pretty sharp images.
Okay.
Especially in good lighting.
Good lighting. Okay.
Yeah, like daytime outdoor shots should look really nice.
That's what most people are going to be using it for anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's good news.
Now, what's really interesting is that it's got a depth sensor, too.
Oh, yeah, depth sensor.
That's the one to watch.
What does that do again?
So that helps create that blurry background effect.
Oh, okay.
Like in portrait mode. Right.
So it makes your subject, like, really pop.
So I could take some really professional-looking pictures.
Well, potentially.
Yeah.
Depends on how well they implemented it.
Okay, right, because not all depth sensors are created equal.
Exactly. We'll have to see some sample photos to really judge.
Yeah. All right, so potentially some good portrait shots.
Yeah.
But it's got those other lenses too, right?
Yeah, you've got the monochrome sensor.
Monochrome.
And the macro lens.
What are those all about?
So the monochrome sensor can be fun for black and white photos.
Oh, okay.
You know, kind of artsy stuff.
Right.
But again, it all comes down to the implementation.
Yeah, does it actually work well?
Exactly.
Okay, and then the macro lens, what's that for?
Macro lens is for getting up close and personal.
Oh, okay.
So like tiny details, insects, flowers, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But the quality on mid-range phones with macro lenses can be a little iffy sometimes. So we'll see.
We'll see how this one performs.
Yeah, we'll have to dig a little deeper into that.
Right.
Okay, now let's talk about something that is super important to me.
Hit me.
Battery life.
Ah, yes, the lifeblood of the smartphone.
I'm one of those people that panics when my battery gets below 50%.
Oh, yeah, I know the feeling.
So tell me about this Infinix Note 10 battery.
All right, so this thing's got a 5,000 milliamp battery.
5,000?
Which is massive.
Oh my gosh, that's huge.
Yeah, and it comes with 18W fast charging.
Oh, okay. So even if I do forget to charge it?
Yeah, you can get a quick boost.
I can get back up and running quickly.
Exactly. A few minutes on the charger and you're good to go for hours.
That is music to my ears.
Yeah, no more low battery anxiety.
That's what I like to hear.
Now, what I find really impressive is that
Yeah.
they managed to pack in that big battery.
Right.
Even with that giant screen.
Yeah, because usually when you have a big screen...
It drains the battery like crazy.
But it sounds like they've optimized it pretty well.
They've done a good job, yeah.
Okay, so big screen, big battery.
Check and check. Now let's talk about the software. because this is where things can get a little interesting.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So the Infinix Note 10 is running Android 11.
Okay, that's good. That's the latest version, right?
Yeah, that's the latest and greatest.
Okay.
But it's got Infinix's own XOS 7.6 skin on top of it.
Okay. I know some people aren't crazy about custom Android skins.
Yeah, some people prefer that stock Android experience,
Right.
clean and simple.
So what's this XOS all about?
Well, the review mentions a couple of interesting features like Smart Panel and Game Zone.
Okay, those sound kind of cool.
Yeah, Smart Panel sounds like it could be a productivity tool.
Like, what do you imagine that would be?
I'm thinking maybe like a slide-out menu
Okay.
where you can access your favorite apps, contacts, things like that.
Oh, that's actually pretty handy.
Yeah, it could be really useful.
Okay, and then Game Zone, what's that all about?
So Game Zone is probably where you'll find all the gaming-related settings,
Okay.
like performance optimization, maybe block notifications while you're gaming.
Yeah, get rid of those distractions.
Exactly. So you can focus on the game.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it sounds like they're trying to cater to gamers a little bit.
Yeah, they're trying to offer some extra features for that crowd.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Especially with that big screen.
Exactly. Big screen, big battery. Gotta have the gaming features.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see how those features actually work in practice.
Me too. We'll have to dive a little deeper into the software
Yeah.
and see if it's just a bunch of gimmicks or if it's actually useful stuff.
Okay, so we've talked about the design, the performance, the camera, even a little bit about the software.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
But the big question is the Infinix Note 10 worth the price?
Right. Does it deliver on that value proposition?
Well, from what we've seen so far,
Yeah.
it's looking pretty promising.
Yeah, it's shaping up to be a solid contender in that mid-range market.
You're getting a big, beautiful display,
Tech.
decent performance for everyday tasks,
Check.
a pretty versatile camera system, and a battery that just won't quit.
Check, check.
And all of that at a price that's probably going to be pretty attractive.
Yeah, you're not going to have to break the bank for this one.
Okay, but we're not done yet.
No, we've got more to uncover.
We still need to look closer at that software experience.
Yeah, and that camera quality needs further investigation.
So stay tuned as we continue our deep dive into the Infinix Note 10.
We'll be right back. You know, it's crazy how they're packing all these high-end features into these mid-range phones these days.
I know, right? It's like the lines are getting blurred.
Yeah, totally. Like this Infinix Note 10, it even has a 90 hertz refresh rate,
Oh, yeah, I saw that in the review.
which is insane for a phone in this price range.
I know, right? Like a
Mm.
couple of years ago, that was unheard of.
Exactly. 90 hertz, that means super smooth scrolling.
Yeah, and animations.
It just makes the whole experience feel so much more fluid.
Yeah, it's like buttery smooth.
Buttery smooth, exactly.
But with all these options, it's got to be tough for people to choose a phone.
Oh, totally. I mean, how do you even decide what's important anymore?
Right, like it's easy to get caught up in all the specs and the hype.
Yeah, you got to figure out what actually matters to you.
Exactly. Like, for me, battery life is huge.
Yeah, I hear you on that.
Like, I can live with a slightly less powerful processor,
Yeah,
but I need a phone that can last all day.
makes sense. And the Infinix Note 10 seems to have that covered.
Oh, yeah, with that 5,000 milliamp battery,
5,000 milliamp hours? That's a beast.
that's a lot of juice.
Yeah, you're not going to be hunting for a charger every few hours with that thing.
So I could be streaming videos,
Yeah,
scrolling through social media, taking pictures all day long.
all day long, and you'll still have battery to spare.
That's the dream,
Yeah, it's pretty impressive that they managed to fit that in there.
especially with that huge screen.
I know, right? Usually a big screen means the battery takes a hit.
Yeah,
Mm.
but they seem to have optimized things pretty well.
Yeah, they found a good balance.
I like it.
So speaking of balance,
Yeah.
let's circle back to the software for a second.
Okay, the XOS.
Yeah, XOS 7.6 on top of Android 11.
Now, we talked about how some people aren't crazy about custom Android skins.
Right, some people prefer that stock Android experience.
Yeah. So what's your take on this one?
Well, it's tough to say without actually using it.
Right.
But I've used some skins that were just terrible.
Oh, yeah, like they slow the phone down.
Yeah, they add a bunch of bloatware.
That's a why.
But then there are some skins that actually add useful features,
Oh, okay.
like the smart panel thing we were talking about.
Right. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, so it really depends on how Infinix implemented it.
So we'll have to see.
We'll have to reserve judgment for now.
Yeah, fair enough.
But before we move on,
Yeah.
I'm still a little curious about that Helio G85 chipset.
Oh, yeah. The processor.
Yeah, we know it's a mid-range chip,
Right. Not a flagship killer.
but how's it going to handle everyday stuff?
Like, will it be smooth? Or will I be seeing lag?
That's the question, right?
Yeah.
Well, from what I've seen, the Helio G85 is a pretty capable chip.
Okay.
It's not going to blow you away with speed, but for everyday tasks, it should be just fine.
Okay.
So things like browsing the web,
Yeah.
checking email,
Social media.
social media, even light gaming should be no problem.
Okay, so maybe not for the hardcore gamers out there.
Yeah, if you're trying to run the latest and greatest games at max settings,
Really?
you might want to look elsewhere.
Okay, so maybe not a gaming phone.
Not a gaming powerhouse.
But for everyday use, it sounds like it'll get the job done.
Yeah, you're not going to be pulling your hair out over lag or anything.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Because that's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, smooth and reliable. That's the key.
Now, what about the cameras? We talked about the megapixels and the different lenses.
Right, we got a little sidetracked with the battery.
Yeah, the 5,000 mAh battery kind of stole the show.
It's hard not to get excited about that.
I know, right? But let's get back to those cameras.
Okay, so the review mentions that the 48MP main sensor should be pretty decent.
Okay. Decent.
Yeah, especially in good lighting conditions.
So outdoor shots, daytime stuff.
Yeah, you should be able to capture some nice looking photos.
Okay, but what about challenging lighting conditions?
Yes, the low light test.
Yeah, because that's where a lot of phone cameras struggle.
Totally. And unfortunately, the review doesn't really go into detail about low light performance.
Oh, okay, so that's still a bit of a mystery?
It is a bit of a mystery.
So we'll have to see how it performs in the real
Yeah,
one.
exactly. We need more information.
Yeah. And what about those other lenses?
Yeah, the depth sensor, the monochrome sensor, the macro lens.
Do they actually add any value, or are they just there for marketing?
That's a good question.
Like, I've seen some phones where those extra lenses are just gimmicks.
Yeah, they don't really do much.
So I'm curious to see if Infinix actually implemented these lenses well.
Yeah, we need to know if they make a tangible difference in the photo quality.
Exactly, because if they're just there to make the phone look more impressive,
Yeah.
that's not really adding any value.
No, not at all.
Okay, so the camera's still a bit of a question mark.
Yeah, we need more info.
But let's move on to something that's super important, but often overlooked.
Hit me.
Software support.
Ah, yes, the long game.
Because it's not just about what the phone can do today.
Right, it's about how long it'll be supported.
Exactly, like how long will this phone get software updates?
Yeah, will it be stuck on Android 11 forever?
Or can we expect updates to future Android versions?
Because those updates are important not just for new features,
Right.
but also for security.
Yeah, those security patches are crucial.
You keep your phone safe from all those nasty vulnerabilities.
Yeah, so Infinix, if you're listening, tell us about your software update policy.
Yeah, give us some details.
'Cause that could be a deal breaker for a lot of people.
Absolutely. People want to know that their phone is going to be supported for the long haul.
All right, so software support, we need more info on that.
Yeah, let's hope Infinix clarifies that.
Now let's talk about the elephant in the room,
The giant screen.
the 6.95-inch display.
It's massive.
I mean, we talked about how great that is for media consumption.
Yeah, movies, games, you name it.
But how practical is it for everyday use?
That's the trade-off, right?
Yeah, like, will it even fit in my pocket?
You might need some cargo pants.
Seriously. And what about one-handed use?
Yeah, can you actually reach all the corners of the screen?
Because I have small hands, so.
Yeah, it's definitely something to consider.
So it seems like there's some pros and cons to that big screen.
Yeah, it's all about finding what works for you.
If you prioritize that immersive experience,
Then the big screen's going to be awesome.
but if you value portability and one-handed use,
You might want to think twice.
okay, so it's a trade-off.
It's a trade-off for sure.
But you know what I kind of like? That Infinix isn't afraid to make bold choices.
Yeah, they're not playing it safe.
And that's what makes this deep dive so interesting.
It's not just about looking at specs on paper. It's about understanding how those specs translate into real-world use.
Exactly, and how they impact the overall user experience.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, that's what matters most.
But hold on, we're not done yet.
No, we've got more to discuss.
Stay tuned as we wrap up our Infinix Note 10 deep dive in the next segment.
We'll be right back.
All right, so we're back, and we spent a good amount of time with this Infinix Note 10.
Yeah, we've really gone in depth.
We've looked at that massive screen.
The battery that never dies.
Yeah, the software, the performance.
It's a pretty interesting phone.
It is, but before we wrap things up,
Yeah.
I want to touch on something we haven't talked about yet.
Okay, what's that?
The overall design.
Ah, design aesthetics.
Yeah, the review mentions a sleek design, but what does that actually mean?
Right, because sleek can be a pretty subjective term.
Exactly, like what kind of materials are we talking about?
Yeah, does it feel premium?
Or is it kind of plasticky and cheap?
Yeah. Is it a fingerprint magnet?
all those important questions.
Well, unfortunately, the review doesn't really go into a ton of detail about the build quality.
Oh, okay. So they don't mention like the materials or anything?
No, they just say sleek design and glossy finish.
Okay, so bit of a mystery then.
Yeah, a little bit.
But let's speculate for a second.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Based on the price point
Yeah.
and what we know about Infinix,
Right.
what kind of build quality would you expect?
Well, given that it's a mid-range phone,
Right.
I'd say it's probably a combination of plastic and glass.
Yeah, that's a pretty safe bet.
Infinix usually does a decent job with the looks, though, so I imagine it'll be fairly modern looking.
All right, so maybe not a super premium feel,
Yeah, probably not like a flagship phone.
but not bad looking either.
No. I don't think it'll be an eyesore.
Okay, good. Because I'm not really expecting a premium design at this price point.
Right. It's all about finding that balance between style and affordability.
Exactly. And you know what? Sometimes functionality is more important than looks.
Yeah, I mean, who cares if it's not the prettiest phone out there?
Right.
If it works well and it's affordable.
That's what matters.
And I think that's kind of the theme we're seeing with the Infinix Note 10.
Yeah, it's not trying to be the most glamorous phone.
No.
It's focusing on the things that matter.
Practicality.
Yeah, and value for money.
And you know what? That's a good thing.
It is.
Because not everyone needs a flagship phone
Exactly. There's a huge market for these mid-range devices.
that offer a good balance of features and affordability.
All right, so let's bring it all together.
Okay, big picture time.
Who is this phone perfect for?
All right, so if you're someone who loves watching movies on your phone,
Oh, yeah.
gaming,
And you need a battery that can keep up with you.
that can last all day.
The Infinix Note 10 is looking pretty good.
Yeah, it's ticking a lot of boxes.
And if you're not too concerned about having the absolute best camera
Right.
or the fastest processor,
This could be a really solid option.
especially at that price point.
Yeah, value for money is key.
All right, so to wrap things up,
Okay, final thoughts.
if you're looking for a new phone
Yeah,
and you don't want to spend a fortune,
right.
the Infinix Note 10 is definitely worth considering.
It's got a lot to offer.
Yeah, it's got that big screen, the big battery.
And it should handle everyday tasks with ease.
So do your research
Read some reviews.
and see if it's the right fit for you.
Because at the end of the day, the best phone for you
Yeah.
is the one that meets your needs.
Exactly. And on that note,
Pun intended.
we're going to wrap up this deep dive into the Infinix Note 10.
Thanks for joining us.
And remember,
Yeah.
the smartphone world is constantly changing.
There's always something new coming out.
So stay informed
Do your research.
and find the phone that's perfect for you.
That's right.
All right, we'll see you next time.
See ya.